incident you forget so easily, because a situation where you watch on air how your son was brutally murdered and beaten, burnt alive. It's an event you can never ever forget.
Call it the agony of a murder and you will not be far from the truth. October 5 this year will mark the 3rd anniversary of the brutal murder of 4 undergraduates of the University of Port Harcourt by an irate mob in Umuokiri, Aluu, the university's host community. The 4 were the first sons of their parents. But almost 3 years on, the parents of the boys, who were all under 20 years of age when they were tortured and burnt to death, are still in search of justice.
Since the courts were opened, at least we've gone to court twice now, and it has been adjourned for one reason or the other. That I really don't like. The other time they said because there was no generator, there was no lights, so that was why they couldn't. I mean, these things like this shouldn't be the reason why it should drag on so long.
But senior advocates of Nigeria, Dr. Amuda Kanike and Kennedy Amos, one of the defense counsel in what has come to be known as Aluu 4 trial, said the delay is not deliberate.
The Aluu 4 most pathetically was affected by the judiciary strike in Rivers State, which took almost about a year, complete 1 year, without the court being opened. So if that 1 year has been utilized for the Aluu 4 case, by now I'm sure they will have delivered judgment.
So most of the accused persons are challenging the police as to the voluntariness of the statements they made. And so we've been conducting one trial within trial as per each accused person. So I think we are somewhere around the 4th accused person, and the trial within trial was to continue on that 12th of June or thereabout, when unfortunately the courts were closed down. So it's not one, and of course, we all know what happened, what played out in the last 1 year, all the political shenanigans by all the various political actors. So those who are complaining, they should also search their conscience whether they too didn't play any role in this thing, because this is a matter that was very highly emotional.
Just like Mrs. Mike, Kennedy Amos believes that all the 4 boys would have been saved if not for what he referred to as institutional failure.
The Nigerian state failed those young men, because if with the way we know our law enforcement agents used to respond to events, to incidents of that nature, especially when there were several distress calls, they would have sent the anti-riot policemen to go to that place and then break the crowd from, and drive away the mob. They could have retrieved those boys alive, and they would still have been alive till today.
Livingston Wishe is the former public relations officer of the Civil Liberties Organization in Rivers State. He is confident, just like Kennedy Amos, that justice will eventually be dispensed at the end of the trial before Justice Letam Nyodi, a respected jurist.
And if justice sufficiently is not done at this stage, there is window for appeal up to the Supreme Court. But I only pray that the hearing process is expedited, because the slow pace of the hearing process itself can be described by certain persons as injustice.
Though he expressed his sympathy for the families of the Aluu 4, Kennedy Amos said justice must be ensured for all, including those being prosecuted, who may not be found culpable at the end of the trial.
That from the proof of evidence that we got, some of the witnesses that the prosecution may call, particularly the police officers, they said that there were not less than 2,000 to 3,000 persons who were there on that day. But how many persons are charged now? Just about 12 persons. By what criteria did they arrive at the 12?
Mrs. Mike is pained that no government official visited any of the bereaved families throughout their period of grief. She wants her son and friends immortalized by the university authority.
Let their names be boldly written somewhere, whether on the hostel walls or maybe I don't know. They keep a particular day for, then you know that day you can talk about mob action not being right and all that. A day you talk about these things to stop, where you see, because that day when they were killing, students were there. They were busy filming.
For now, all those concerned with the trial are waiting with bated breath. They want it dispensed with and speedily too, so that the souls of the Aluu 4, Toku Lloyd, Shia Dika Biringa, Ugona Obuzo, and Tekena Elkana will be at peace in their respective graves. Andy Omano Oriere, TVC News.